Welcome everyone. As we have discussed about compensation management, under which we have talked about its basics and the objectives related to compensation management. Now we reaches to how we pay. That the question which we have solved till now being why we pay, how much we pay to any individual, how that has to be come up with. Now the thing is, what are the different methods through which we pay any individual? So how we pay? So the first dimensions which are available to compensation payment tools are being direct and indirect. So directs are going to be where we are compensating individual in terms of monetary or some monetary dimensions being given to individual, and within which we have further two divisions are available. One is wages and salary. So just to define over here, wages the individuals daily basis calculation related to compensation in terms of money against the contribution, and salaries are monthly calculated amount which is being provided to any individual for continuous work for a duration of a month. Now, when we look forward for these wages and salary, these are a fixed set of compensation to any individual against the contribution they have made for the job profile. So, the compensation for any individual, which is against the contribution, is fixed in terms of their part of salary that will be called the wages and salary. Now, when we look forward for that, the individual comes up with some extraordinary performances. So, again, going back, wages and salary are fixed, and that is going to be provided to any individual for performing all the responsibilities against the standards as per the standards and matching the standards. So, for that, the person being provided with the fixed amount of salary or compensation. Whereas we look forward for the second dimension where the individual comes up with some specific outcomes which is better than the total contribution if that person has to make against the job responsibilities or some variables work which is being provided to the people. Now, this is the dimension of any individual compensation, which is variable in nature. Whereas, when we say that the individual is performing beyond the performance standards, so that might have different level of performance for different individuals. That's why it is a variable amount. Now, when we look forward for this variable amount, that can be divided into two dimensions. Either it can be provided to one individual or it can be a group effort in terms of their contribution to or in terms of their variable amount of compensation to. So when we look forward for their individuals variable amount of contribution and compensation for that will be called incentives. And when the same thing is being provided for the group efforts, the team members, that will be called group incentives or gain share. So gain share as itself says that we are distributing the total gain as a part of share of individual team members. So these are the two ways of direct compensation to individuals in terms of monetary dimension. But the compensation or the reward against the contribution is not going to be calculated in monetary terms only, but there are some other dimensions too. So, for these dimensions to be fulfilled, there are indirect method of compensation are available. The first dimension of which consists that is benefits and services. Now, within the benefits and services, there are medical benefits being available, there are insurance being available. So, all these benefits, whereas the other dimension which is also mentioned over there, which is also part of benefits and services, but medical and insurance related dimensions being additionally provided by organizations. And in that, the coverage of some certain amount being given to individuals for some health measures related to treatment within specific hospitals or specific places. Now, another is there are certain rules and regulations which is being created by government which make legal for different organizations. Now, when we look forward for legal dimensions, it will be applicable to mostly to the organization which are fulfilling the definition of factories under the factory as per Indian rules we are talking right now. Now, when we talk about legally mandate, so in Indian terms, the things which are available or things which need to be provided, the one thing is called ESI, Employee State Insurance. The second thing is called your minimum wages. The another thing which we can add that is provident fund. So all these things are the mandatory things legally bounded benefits which need to be added to any individual's compensation. So what is ESIC as right now? Just for introduction, employee state insurance, where the individuals who is earning below the 21,000 rupees of monthly salary need to be covered under ESIC, provided with an ESIC card, and this card applies to registered hospital where they can get treatment for different kind of situations. Now, another is your provident fund, where the individual is being deducted with certain amount of their salary in insurance, in pension scheme, that is a national pension scheme nowadays, NPS. So the portion being contributed, 50% contribution being made by the employer, 50% contribution is made by the employee, and it is a mandatory thing that has to be accomplished by any organization. There is minimum wage act being available, which comprises that there need not to have any kind of exploitation related to individual. They must be given some, of course, it's amount of salary which is decided by central government and then the state government. So whatever salary package is higher, that will be provided to the individual. So that is under the legal and mandatory benefits. So when we add all these wages, salary, incentives, legal, mandatory benefits, and some more benefits into it, we come across with the total package for an individual. Then it is being calculated for a whole year. And for an individual, then it is called cost to the company, CEC, which is most of the time mentioned in the offer letter of any individual. Now, moving ahead with each dimensions, how we can come across with this. So first, when we look forward for, there is direct dimension where we had wages and salary and incentives. So within the wages and salary, how we decide about wages or the fixed part of anyone's compensation, how that particular thing being decided. So there are different methods being available. The methods consisting three dimensions to be covered. One is, first we are going to evaluate what is the worth of any individual profile within the organization. Then what is the value of that profile as comparison to the other industry players, and then equating both the things. So first is we are going to calculate the internal worth of that particular job profile, then external worth of the job profile, and then we try to equate internal worth with the external worth. Now looking here that we decide about the fixed part of compensation proposed before any individual joins the organization. So we calculate all these things in advance, being internal worth and external worth. Now when we come across with this dimension, we come across with the calculation of these wages, and these wages are being fixed as a part of our wages and salary fixed dimension of compensation. So this most of the time wage determination which we do consists our basic pays to be calculated, which we will be discussing further while we are going to create a compensation structure. Now internal worth estimation. So how we can evaluate any job? Internal worth, when we evaluate the job, we will have to evaluate the job in terms of monetary dimension, so that ultimately we can say that how much salary needs to be provided to any individual for any profile in the organization. Now, job evaluations, there are different methods being available. There are two dimensions being available, non-analytical and analytical. When we look forward for non-analytical, means we are not going to come up with mathematical operations majorly on it. We have majorly subjective dimensions, or we have measurement on the basis of expertise of the individual, and then we come across with the evaluation of, or we can say, worth of the job in terms of monetary dimension or compensation. And the second is analytical, where we have some of the other mathematical tools will be utilized to finally come up with a quantifiable outcome in that direction. Now, moving ahead with the non-analytical dimension, we have first available with job ranking method. So, as we know, job ranking method is being itself saying that we have to rank the job. Ranking the job within the organization means we want to create that which job as per the compensation preferences, or we can say as per the compensation dimension, which job stays higher in position, which job stays lower in position. So when we look forward for this, we create the hierarchical order of job profile with reference to their importance within the organization for the compensation purpose. So in this particular case, when we try to interpret this thing into practice, try to implement this thing into practice, we identify that assigning some rank to any job profile will be consistent subjective matter of the evaluator. The individual whosoever is trying to come up with evaluating job, trying to put some or the other rank to the job profile will be not left out with his biasness while evaluating that. So the losses will be that individual, if he or she is not well versed with to minimize biasness, minimize subjectivity of that particular evaluation, then there may be biasness available in that particular evaluation. The advantage of it consists because it has got no other comprehensive dimensions to evaluate, to cover, and to have some of the other meaning to those comprehensive dimensions. So it is very easy to calculate, it will be very easy to implement this particular method looking for any compensation package to be decided. The another non-analytical method which is available, that is called job grading, or we can say job classification. Now, job grading and job classification, if we want to understand, this will be consistent that we try to create a group of field jobs which is of similar nature, and on the basis of a subjective analysis, we identify that certain set of jobs are falling in some category of work. So in that way, we come across with job classification or job grading. Now, simple example, we have heard about lots of class 1, class 2, class 3 officers kind of dimension, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. So all these are the outcome of what? That will be outcome of job grading method or job classification method. Now, when we look forward for this, for each grade, we come across with a plan related to compensation, and then according to that particular plan related to compensation, we try to compensate individual. Now, for grading purpose, we come across with the kind of like if someone moves upper in the hierarchy, we come across with a grade pay related dimension add on to it. So for adding benefits of moving up higher in the ladder, we add the grade pay dimension. Along with that, we come across with basic salary determination, which is comprising the pay band for a specific class of job. So for different job classes, we come across with the pay bands, and for those pay bands, we provide certain grade pays related advancement. Now, if we look forward for it is less subjective as comparison to our previous method or the ranking method, but still it has got subjectivity involved, and this consists job may be differing with respect to different contents and complexity, so we cannot grade them into a single grade, or we can say we cannot classify them into a single class. So there may have the concern of internal equity related dimension in method of job classification.